Nothing had an event this week.
That's the end of the podcast.
Yeah. No, the Nothing Ear 2 is the name of the new headphones. They're $150. They had an announcement event, which was basically a live streamed premiere of a thing that they made. It was kind of funny, actually. So, first of all, the product itself is new earbuds. They look very similar to the last ones, but with some small improvements, mainly to the sound, new custom drivers. Design is very similar because that's kind of like their thing. They already have a certain look and people like that about it. But the case is a little smaller, little things like that. They did a lot of refinement type things. So Ear 2, it's out. But their event was kind of funny because their event was Carl, their CEO. How do I explain what they did? They essentially cosplayed as several YouTube channels while turning it into a keynote. It's like funny. It's like if any other company did this, we've been like, wow, that's really weird. But for this company, it was like, Nothing is already Carl's baby, which has already like leaned very heavily into the YouTube thing. And like the way they do PR is very creator forward, which makes a lot of sense. But yeah, basically like it opens up with like him wearing the MKBHD hoodie in the set, which looks like he's in our studio, but he's not in our studio. They recreated our studio from scratch in their studio to make it look like he's in our studio.
And they picked arguably like the hardest corner of the entire studio to replicate because it has a giant window and this like steel beam that they had to replicate.
They redid the beam.
Like they could have picked one of the just white corners that we have that would have been super easy. But yeah, they replicated a steel beam and it's insanely accurate.
They also... So they did ours, and it was. I think I would give them like a 98 out of 100 as far as like accuracy. It was pretty good, literally to the point of like they even for one of the scenes like screened out the window and like superimposed what we've had outside our window, so it like really looked like he was in our studio. So anyway,
it looks really, really good.
It's pretty good. Yeah, I was impressed. They also did this for Mr. Who's the Boss, iJustine, J-Rig Everything, Technical Guruji, and they're pretty good. Like all of them are fairly accurate. And so they sort of use this to have like Carl land in the set and then like use that YouTuber's style to explain the product. So he like lands in our set. He's like, here's our new product. And then he lands in Justine's set and he's like, so it's got these new drivers and the sound is better. And he lands in Aaron's set and he's like, it's got these new features. So that's how they did it. It was kind of clever.
Yep.
I don't think I've seen anything like that before. So
I give them a lot of credit because we've talked about how like some of their past ones were a bit boring. So this is just a slight update on their headphones.
Think if any other company tried to do this.
Exactly. And they just did it was like 20 minutes max, right?
Yeah,
it was
short.
Very short.
Yeah.
Fun for a couple minutes. They just like posted all the final specs at the end. They talked about the product. They released it. Kudos. I thought it was fun. I don't know how they'll do that again because if they just do the exact same thing again, it's going to be boring.
I think it's a one-off.
But yeah, they did a good job with it. And the Nothing, I didn't realize they were $150.
$150. Yeah,
a little sad at
$149.
that.
Yeah. So I don't know. We're gonna try these as well because we
I'll try
have them
them.
now. We'll see how they go. I am still like, I don't know. The favorite thing for me about them was the design, and that's basically the same as last time. So I still like that about them.
I hope they work. That would be awesome. That was my biggest gripe about the first ones.
Yeah,
It's a big gripe.
Yeah, exactly. I had a lot of trouble with the first one, so I think we have an extra pair there. I'm going to grab them and probably start using them tomorrow. As long as they work. If they were still $99 though, and they worked as well as or if they actually always charged and whatever, I would say that's awesome. I love the design, and I'm totally fine spending a little extra for a cool design, whether maybe noise canceling isn't as good as AirPods, but they fit in my ear and they looked cool. Yeah. They just didn't work. So let's hope the twos do.
Hopefully that does all the things you asked for them.
Yeah.
Also, I had a little cameo at the end, which was just like at the literal very end of the keynote, it cuts to me like watching their end of their keynote and disliking it and being like, that was kind of cringe. Call me when it's the phone too. And I leave. So that's actually, OnePlus, Nothing is kind of making their little ecosystem now where they have the phone. The phone works best with their earbuds, but the earbuds still work really well with others. So there's kind of this little mini ecosystem starting to form. They'll probably make a phone 2 this year. What else are they going to add to their ecosystem? We don't really know yet, but I could see that sort of expanding.
Still think see-through smart speaker with Google Assistant. would look really sick.
Yeah.
Speaker seems like it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, like designed by like teenage engineering vibes like that would look really sick.
That would be dope.
I
Yeah.
can see that.
Yeah, I gotta say that for the ear twos, the fit of the ear ones were my favorite thing about them.
Yeah.
I was like, these are really light and they fit really well in my ear and they stay really well in my ear, and I would love to use them for running. They just sounded like bad. So if the ear twos sound better, then I would probably consider them.
Yeah.
They're using the LHDC codec, which is a common, like off-the-shelf high-res audio codec, which should be available to anyone, any OEM using Android higher than 10. It's not always like added as a feature, but it's definitely not a codec that's like, proprietary.
Right.
And it's not even locked into any like specific chipset either. While we're talking about audio features no one cares about, it's pretty cool from a nerd standpoint that they claim they're able to get like 1 megabit Bluetooth data transfer onto this thing. And it's also pretty cool that they're claiming like around like 30 milliseconds of latency.
Yeah, latency is always one of those immediate things you notice the second you start using a pair of earbuds with your phone, which is you open up a YouTube video or something and you start watching it, and you notice how much lag there is between the voices and the people talking on the screen.
Yeah.
Or when you're playing a game and you're like, you hit something with the car on the screen and you don't hear it for a fraction of a second until it gets to the headphones.
Or
Stuff like that.
When you're using an app like GarageBand on an iPad and you're pressing piano keys and you can hear it, not be in time. That's what immediately popped into my head. Like when you're working with a computer, like generally anything above like 8 to 10 milliseconds of latency makes playing an instrument really, really hard.
Yeah. So it should be good. Should be fun to play with, but I appreciated that keynote from the Nothing team. Shout out to them. Well played. Hey, thanks for watching the clip this week. Fun fact, if you ask the subscribe button how it feels, kind of like it's a chatbot, it'll tell you an entire story about its nature, how it used to be one color, now it's a different color, and how it's sort of grown up and evolved over time. But you only get that story if you click it, I'm pretty sure. So, yeah, if you want to chat with the subscribe button like a chatbot, just click it. I think that's all you have to do. Yeah.
I thought you had to smash it.
We still talking about feet?